Okay, good morning, everyone. So we'll begin with our next lecture. In the previous lecture, we were discussing about the introduction of analysis of indeterminate structure. I have briefly discussed some of the concepts from your previous semester. Like I have discussed about indeterminacies with respect to static and kinematic in nature. Then I have discussed the fixed beams. Then I tried to differentiate between the subject that is studied in previous semester and this semester. I had also given a brief introduction of what all topics that we cover and what all modules we cover in this semester. Okay, so in this semester we basically focus on resolving or analyzing the structures which are indeterminate in nature, which are statically indeterminate in nature. Okay, so we'll go to that. Before that, I told you there is a transition phase between the analysis of determinate structure to indeterminate structure, which is your fixed beam. So we all know what is fixed beam, but I would like to make you understand how this fixed beam is resolved, how it is analyzed. So the first thing what we'll do is that I have taken a fixed beam over here and I have loaded with the single point load. Okay, one point load, and which is at the mid span, which is L by 2 distance from A and L by 2 distance from the B also. Okay, so total length is L, right? So we need to resolve or we need to analyze this fixed beam. So how do we analyze this fixed beam? First, before you begin to solve any problem, you try to understand its free body diagram. So what do I mean by free body diagram? Free body diagram is basically the response that is given by any structure with respect to the load that is applied. Now, for example, if you apply a load like this on a beam, what are the reactions that are generated in this? So we have two supports. If we have two supports, then the reactions will be generated at the supports itself. Now let me try to find out what are the reactions that will be generated in this. Okay, so vertical reactions will be there, VA and VB. Okay. Now there is a horizontal reaction. I'll just simply write here horizontal reaction, but we already know that it is equals to 0, HA and HB. Okay. Now this is a fixed beam. Because of that, we'll have a reaction, movement reaction. Okay, so as you know, in case of cantilever, I hope you all remember. So if I tell you to draw the free body diagram of cantilever, how you used to draw? You used to draw a reaction, vertical reaction, a horizontal reaction, then there is a moment reaction. So basically, on a fixed side, we have three reactions. Two reactions, vertical and horizontal. Then the other one is moment reactions. Right. So now I'll try to eliminate two of the reactions. What are those two reactions I'll eliminate? I'll eliminate the horizontal reaction at A and horizontal reaction at B. I'll give the reason why I'm eliminating them also. See, if there is no horizontal load that is acting on B, then you can say that HA will be equal to HB, because we know that summation of horizontal force should be equal to 0. So it simply means that HA and HB will be equal to 0. So when there is horizontal force, then only this HA and HB will come into existence. Unless and until if there is no horizontal force, this HA and HB will be equal to 0. So that's why I'll reduce the reactions, because already I know what will be HA and HB. HA and HB will be equal to 0. So that's why I'm eliminating both of them. So how many reactions are left over now? There are four reactions. One is a vertical reaction at A, vertical reaction at B. Then we have moment reaction at A and moment reaction at B. So these are the four reactions. Now let us find out how many equilibrium equations we will have. So basically we have three equilibrium equations. Let me write on them. Sigma h equal to 0, sigma vertical force equal to 0, summation of moment at any point should be equal to 0. Either you can take the summation of moment at A or you take the summation of moment at B, it should be equal to 0. Okay, so first of all, let me eliminate this equilibrium equation. Why am I eliminating this equilibrium equation? Because previously I explained to you that horizontal reactions will be equal to 0, right? Because the summation of horizontal force will be equal to 0. So I have already used this equilibrium equation. Now to solve these reactions, I have only two equilibrium equations. First one is the summation of vertical force should be equal to 0. The second one is moment reaction should be equal to summation of moments will be equal to 0. So now let us find out what is the static indeterminacy of this fixed beam. Okay, so we have how many reactions? We have four reactions: VA, VB, MAB, and MBA. how many equilibrium equations we can use? 2. So what is the static indeterminacy of the structure? 2. Okay, so we know that the static indeterminacy is 2. Next thing what I'll do is that I'll try to find out what is the kinematic indeterminacy. So how do you find out the kinematic indeterminacy? Let us go to the supports. At this support, whether there can be a rotation? No, because it's a fixed beam, so there cannot be a rotation. Now again, there is a resistance that will happen if at all it translates in any of the direction. So it means what? The deflection is also 0, theta is also 0. The same is here also. So the kinematic indeterminacy in this case is 0. The same thing I had explained in the previous class also, how to find out the kinematic indeterminacy. Kinematic indeterminacies are related with respect to slope and deflection, and static indeterminacies are related with respect to reactions that are developed. Okay, right. So once we have understood broadly all of this, now you have understood what all things to be calculated to analyze the structure. We need to determine VA, we need to determine VB, MA, and MAB and MBA. So we need to solve all of this. So I'll use the techniques that you have already used in your previous semester. Okay, like whenever you want to find out slope and deflection, you used to use equations. You used to use methods like moment area method or conjugate beam method. Okay, so I'll use the conjugate beam method in order to solve this problem. Okay, I'm simply erasing this. Okay, one more note. You start writing from now onwards. In the previous video, I didn't tell you to note down anything because I was generally speaking about the classes. If you have notebook, open the notebook and start writing. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute to write this. Once this is over, I'll solve the next part of this problem. That will become blind spot. वहाँ पे लिखता ही नहीं मैं भी. हाँ वही गलत किया. Hello. Charge है. Okay, so I'll continue. I hope you all have noted down this. So I'll continue solving this problem. So I'm erasing this part. I hope you all remember what all reactions we need to calculate. Okay, right. So I'll take the same beam, but I'll make some of the modifications here. So what is the modification I'll do is, I'll keep this A end as fixed itself. This B end I'll release it. Okay, the releasing thing is you need to convert this fixed support into released support. So how do I release it? Release it by applying the probable reactions that will be generating at that support. Like I have already explained you that there are two reactions that will get generated at this support, which is vertical reaction and moment reaction. So if you want to release this support, it means what? If you are removing this support, you need to apply these two reactions. Okay, so that's why I'm applying these two reactions. I'll call this as VB. Okay, I'll call this as VB, and I'll call this as MBA. Okay, and when you release it, you should not forget to load the load which is already available. So there is already a load available, which is W, and you know what is the distance of W with respect to A. So I'll note it down here. Right now, you can see that I have converted a fixed beam into a cantilever structure. Okay, so this was the fixed beam. I have released the B support by applying the probable reaction that will get generated. So by doing that, I have converted fixed beam into a cantilever structure. So once I convert this, what I'll do is that I'll try to analyze that this cantilever beam is subjected to three forces. What are the three forces which is subjected to? One is the external load, then there is a vertical reaction at B point, then there is a moment reaction that is generated at the B point. Okay, now if I tell you to solve it by using conjugate beam method, you will probably solve it. Okay, now before that, what I'll do is I'll tell you the principle of superposition. So I hope you all remember what is principle of superposition is. Now I'll give you a simple example. Assume that we have some beam like this. Okay, I applied a load here W. Okay, then there is another load which is a W1. Okay, if I want to solve the reaction here, okay, I can individually solve it. Like for example, I'll take only W. For that, I'll calculate some reaction RA dash, I'll call it as. And similarly, again, I'll take this beam and I'll apply only this load, which is W1. I'll apply only W1. Okay, now again I will calculate the reaction here. So if you want to find out how much is the reaction when both are applied together, what I'll do is that I'll add these two reactions. So here RA will be equals to RA dash plus of RA double dash. I hope you remember. This is what your what do you say, superimposition, principle of superimposition. Now similarly, this applies for rest of the things also. Basically, this is an assumption that we do. Okay, it is not a hard and fast rule, or it doesn't similarly behave in the original structures also. It is actually the ideal situation that we created. Okay, so in the next case of superposition is like if I want to find out how much is the slope that is generated here, I'll call this as theta A. Now first what I'll do is I'll find out the theta simply by applying this load. I'll call this as theta A dash, and also I'll solve how much is the theta A double dash by applying only this load. Now if I have to calculate how much is the slope that is generated because of both the load, what I do is theta A will be equals to theta A dash plus of theta A double dash. The same will be with the deflection also. You can also calculate the deflection in the same manner by superimposing. Okay, so this is what the principle of superimposition. So using this method itself, using the method of superimposition, I'll try to solve my fixed beam. Okay, so if you have any doubt, you can ask me, or else I'll open up the chat section once I complete this explanation. Okay, so no need to worry about that. Now what I'll do is I'll divide this structure into three parts. Okay, the first part is that I'll take the cantilever. Okay, I'll take the cantilever and I'll apply only this load W. Okay, so in the next scenario, what I'll do is that I'll take this cantilever load, cantilever beam, and I'll apply only vertical reaction. And this is the first case, this is the second case, and this is the third case. Okay, the third case, what I'm doing is that I'm applying only moment reaction. Okay, so I hope you understood this. The same beam I have taken and I have divided into three parts. So I have divided into three parts. I am trying to apply the principle of superposition here. Okay, now you must be thinking, why am I using the principle of superposition? So before I explain you why I'm doing it, what I want you to do is that you need to find out using the conjugate beam method. You need to solve this. Okay, let me explain you that. I'll take this beam, cantilever beam, and I'll apply a W L by 2, and this is L. We know that this distance. Okay, now if I solve the bending moment diagram for this, okay, if I solve the bending moment diagram for this, what will be the bending moment diagram here? Okay, so this is your A, this is your B. So the load is somewhere here, which is L by 2 distance from the A. So the bending moment at this point will be equal to 0. Bending moment at this point will be equal to 0. It means what, here also it is 0, here also it is 0. Now how much is the moment at this point? It will be equal to W into L by 2. So I'll write here W into L by 2. Is this correct? Right. So this becomes my bending moment diagram. Now you need to understand whether it is negative bending moment or positive bending moment. We all know that it is cantilever. So if it is cantilever, it is hogging in nature. So I hope you all remember what is sagging and hogging. If this is cantilever, if it bends like this, we call this as hogging. If it bends like this, we call it as sagging. Right? When it is sagging, we consider positive. When it is hogging, we consider negative. So what will be this bending moment diagram now? This will be a negative bending moment diagram. Okay, I hope all you remember this. So once we solve the bending moment diagram, if I have to solve this structure using conjugate beam method, what I do is that I'll convert this into a conjugate beam. How do you convert a conjugate beam? We know that this fixed end will become free end and the free end will become fixed end. This is the method in which we can solve it, right? Now what we do is that we overlay the bending moment diagram WL by 2 and we divide it by EI. Okay, so this becomes my conjugate beam. Now tell me, what is the benefit of solving the conjugate beam method? What can we calculate by using conjugate beam method? Okay, anyway, we'll continue. Right. So you try to observe in this. Okay, if I calculate the shear force at any point, like I'm considering this point, if I calculate the shear force from the conjugate beam, it will give me the theta. Theta means what? Slope, rotation. Okay. If I calculate the bending moment in the conjugate beam, I'll calculate how much is deflection. I hope you all remember this conjugate beam method. Okay. Now assume that I would like to solve how much is the shear force till B. Okay. And I'll calculate how much is the bending moment till B. From that, what I'll be calculating? I'll be calculating two things. One is theta B and the next one is delta B. Is this correct or not? So if I take the shear force till B point, I'll calculate how much is the theta B, which is slope at B. And if I calculate the bending moment of the conjugate beam loading till B point, I will be calculating the deflection at B. So let us resolve this. Take the shear force, how much will be the shear force at B point? This total load itself. So what is this total load? This is a triangle. So 1 by 2 into how much is this ordinate? WL by 2EI into what is this length? L by 2. This is correct. So this becomes your shear force. So what is this equation? WL square divided by 8EI. So this is your theta B. And there is one small change that I'll do with respect to this nomenclature. What I'll do is I'll call this as theta B suffix W. Okay, the same I'll do here also. Delta BW I'll do here. Okay, so I have understood this. I calculate how much is theta B and I'll now calculate how much is the deflection at B. So to calculate the deflection at B, what I do is that I'll take the total load and I'll multiply the CG with respect to B. Now let me calculate how much is the CG of this area with respect to B. So CG will somewhere at here. So what will be this equals to 2/3 into L divided by 2. Is this correct? What is this? What was this distance? This total distance was L by 2. The CG of this area will be 2/3 into L by 2. Now, what is this distance from here to here? Which is equals to L by 2. Now, what is the total distance of the CG of this area to the B? It will be equal to 2/3 into L by 2 plus of L by 2. Is this correct? Okay, now let us calculate how much is deflection. So to calculate the deflection, what we'll do is that we'll multiply the total load with respect to the CG from the distance where you're taking moment, right? So I'm taking the moment of this area with respect to B. So let me calculate that. WL square divided by 8EI, okay, into L by 3 plus L by 2. This is what the delta WPV. So two questions were there. One is that why I had taken it as cantilever. I'll take time to explain that because in the further steps I'll be explaining that. The second question was asked something different, like explain me the slope and deflection one more time. Okay, I'll do it again. Did you solve this? How much you'll get delta BW? How much is this? See whether this is correct or not. 5 divided by 48 WL cube divided by EI. I hope this answer is correct. Okay. Now we have solved slope and deflections. I'll explain again how do I solve the slope and deflection. First thing what you need to do in conjugate beam method is that you take whichever structure you have. If it is cantilever, in this case it is cantilever, we have a load here which is equals to W. We know how much is the distance of that W with respect to A, and we know the length of the beam, everything. So from this what we do first is that we draw the bending moment diagram. I hope you all know how to draw the bending moment diagram. So bending moment diagram, bending moment at this point and this point is equal to 0. So bending moment at A will be equals to W into L by 2. So this becomes a triangular bending moment diagram. So WL by 2 will be the maximum ordinate and 0 will be the minimum ordinate, and this is your bending moment diagram. Okay. So now what you do is that you superimpose this bending moment diagram over the conjugate beam. So this is the cantilever beam. This is the conjugate beam. So what happens in conjugate beam? Whichever end was fixed, it will become free. Whichever end was free, it will become fixed. This is what conjugate beam is. Okay. Now, what I do is I'll superimpose the bending moment diagram over this, but that bending moment diagram should be divided by EI value. I hope you all know what is E value. What is E is? E is Young's modulus. I is moment of inertia. Okay. So this is your material property. Like for example, if it is RCC, concrete or anything, the Young's modulus is constant and it will be with respect to the material property. Okay. Now, what is I? I is a moment of inertia. This is a geometric property. I hope you all know what is the moment of inertia and how do we calculate that. Like for example, for rectangular, how much it is? BD cube by 12, right? So similarly for circular, rectangular, triangular, and all of those, you know what is the I value is. So I is derived from geometric values. E is derived from the property values. So E and I is basically modulus of rigidity or something. Okay. So this E will be divided by the bending moment diagram. Then we superimpose this. By superimposing, now let us see how we calculate the slope at any point in the beam. I gave an example. You can solve the slope at whatever distance you want. Okay, like for example, if I had to solve this here, okay, I have to calculate the shear force on the conjugate beam till that point. That will give you the theta at that particular point. Okay, now my aim here is to find out how much is the slope and deflection at B. So that's I'm taking the shear force of this till point B. Now how do you calculate the shear force? You have to see the left of B and you have to sum up all the shear force. Okay, so we have only one load here, which is WL by 2VI triangular load. So if I calculate the total area of this triangle, I will be calculating how much is the shear force at B, right? So I have calculated this 1 by 2 WL by 2 VI L by 2. From that I got how much is slope. Now I go to find out what is the deflection at B. So while solving the deflection at B, what we will do is that we will take the bending moment of this dotted diagram. Okay. So take this area, multiply by the CG of this area to the point where you are taking bending moment diagram. So I'm taking the bending moment at B. So that's why this total load multiplied by the CG of this diagram with respect to the B. Okay, so that is what I have done here. From this, I have calculated how much is the deflection at B because of this load, and I calculated how much is slope because of this load at point B. I have calculated these two. I hope this is very much clear. Okay. Now, once you understood, what I'll do is that I'll go with the next condition. How many cases were there? This is the first case which we have resolved. I'll go to next case now. After that, we'll go to third case. So in the first case, what I have done, I have applied the vertical load itself. In the second case, I'll be applying the reaction. What is this reaction? Vertical reaction at B. See, I have made a mistake here, small mistake. I have to make this as VB. Okay. I hope you are not making that mistake. This will be MBA. Okay. Now let me erase this part. I hope all you have written this. Okay. Let me apply VA here. What is this distance? L distance. Okay. Now this is A, this is B. Let me calculate first what is the bending moment diagram. How much is the bending moment at A because of VA? It is equal to 0. Sorry, again mistake. B. Okay. So the bending moment at this point is equal to 0. If I calculate how much is the bending moment at this point, it will become VB into what is this distance? L. Okay, and this will be a triangular. Now, tell me whether this bending moment diagram is positive or negative. Okay, so to understand whether it is positive or negative, what you do is that you try to understand whether this beam will sag or how because of the load applied. Now, for example, if this is a cantilever, if I am applying a load like this, how will it bend? It will bend in this direction. So if it bends in this direction, what is the symbol we have? Sign symbol we have, which is positive. It means what? This vertical load will create positive bending moment. So that's why I'll write it as positive. Okay. Now a slight change that you have to do. Previously, the bending moment diagram that we solved were negative in nature. So that's why write your theta values. The theta values, theta BW is equals to minus and the delta BW as minus itself, because the bending moment diagram was minus. We slightly ignored that part. Okay. So let us calculate this. Now again, it's the same thing I'll do. I'll convert this beam into a conjugate beam. I'll load this bending moment diagram over here. So this will be Vp into L divided by EI. Okay, EM divided by EI diagram. Okay, and this is positive. Should not forget this. This is A and this is B. Let me calculate how much is theta B, and I call this as V. Okay, earlier I had given a sign symbol called as theta W. Here I am calling it as theta BV. Okay, so you can calculate how much is the shear force, 1 by 2 into VV into L divided by EI into L. So this will give you the slope, which is equals to VB into L square divided by 2 EI. Now similarly, let us calculate the deflection, which is delta BV, which is equals to VB L square divided by 2 EI into, what is the CG distance from here to here? What will be this distance? This will be 2/3 of L. Right? This is the total length, which is L. So 2/3 of L. So what is left over? VB into L cube divided by L. Okay, and both the values are positive in nature. They are not negative in nature. Okay, write down this also. Okay, I hope solving this is easy. Okay, there is no difficulty in this part. Try to solve this. Okay, we have solved first case, we have solved the second case. Next we'll be solving the third case. Once I solve all of these three things, I'll tell you why I have solved all of this. So this is our last case. First we applied the vertical external load, then we have applied the vertical reaction. This is the last one where I'm simply applying the moment. Okay. Now let me draw the bending moment diagram for this. This bending moment diagram is quite simple. This is a rectangular bending moment diagram, and you tell me whether it is negative or positive. Okay. So we'll just try to show you whether it will be negative or positive. I hope this is clear to you. Now, if this is some beam, okay. Now, I previously applied a load like this, vertical reaction first, so it started bending like this, right? Now, in the first case, what I did is that I applied a load in this direction, so it was hogging. So I applied vertical reaction. In the second case, it was sagging. Now, this is moment. Moment is not much trivial in nature. You try to understand this. Assume this hand as the moment I'm applying. In this case, how I'm applying a moment, see what is the direction? The direction is like this, which is in this direction. Okay. Now, if I apply a moment like this, so how is this bending? This is bending in a hogging direction. Okay. So I'm applying a moment like this. Now, if I apply a moment like this, opposite direction, okay, like this, in the anti-clockwise direction. If I apply like this, so how is it moving? It is going into a sagging condition, right? So with respect to direction, you can understand whether it is sagging or hogging. So in this case, the moment is being applied like this, which is clockwise direction. Because of that, it is hogging in nature. So because it is hogging in nature, so I can mention it as negative. Is this clear? Right. So once it is negative, you know what is the bending moment diagram. You can simply convert this into a conjugate beam. So convert this into a conjugate beam. Load the bending moment. So what is the coordinate here? MAB will be the value. Sorry, MBA will be the value. Okay. Now, what will be the M by EI diagram? It will be MBA divided by EI value. So we already know the length is L. So let us calculate theta B M, I'll call it as. Okay. So theta BM is nothing but the total load. So it is similar to the UDL. So in UDL, what happens? Load magnitude multiplied, or the intensity multiplied by length. So MBA into L divided by EI. So this will be your slope. So calculate the deflection. So let us calculate the deflection. So this total load multiplied by the CG with respect to the point where you are taking the moment. So MBA into L divided by EI into the CG is L by 2. So that's why it will become MBA into L square divided by 2EI. So as you can note down that I have calculated 3 slopes and 3 deflections. First slope is, so you don't forget to write minus symbol here. Why is it minus? Because bending moment diagram is minus. Okay. So I calculated 3 deflections and I calculated 3 slopes. So I'll just try to note it all of them. You already have written this, I hope. Okay. So theta B W is the first I calculated. After that, I calculated theta B, what is it? V. Then I calculated theta B M. Similarly, I calculated deflection B W, deflection B vertical force, deflection at B with respect to moment. So these are the 6 values I have determined. Okay. Now I'll tell you that I'll try to solve the compatibility equation. Okay. So let me explain you why did I take it as cantilever. So all of you have come across the equilibrium equation. So you all remember what is equilibrium equation? Sigma h equal to 0, sigma v is equal to 0, and sigma m should be equal to 0. But I'm introducing another set of equations which are called as compatibility equation. So what happens in compatibility equation is whenever you see a structure, you try to identify the kinematic translations that will take place. Like for example, I have given you already to find out the ways in which I can find out the slopes and deflections. So if it is fixed, slope at A should be equal to 0. Okay, and deflection at A should be equal to 0. Similarly, you're going to support B, you know that it is fixed support. Because of that, there is no rotation. So theta B should be also equal to 0. Theta, delta B should be also equal to 0. But what I have done in these cases is that I have released this structure, I have applied 2 reactions. With the 2 reactions, I have calculated 6 values, 3 values of slopes, 3 values of translation. So the slope and deflection I calculated is theta B. I calculated the theta at B with respect to W. Now you try to understand why I apply W here. Theta, which is calculated considering a cantilever and when the external load is applied. So that's why it is called as theta BW. Now similarly, I have calculated one more value called as theta BW. This is again the deflection that is calculated at B when only the external load is applied. Now similarly, in the next case, I have solved for theta BV. Okay. Next, I calculated theta delta BV. So what are this theta and delta? Theta and delta are calculated at B with respect to the vertical reactions that is applied at the support B. Okay. Now the last which we calculated is theta BM and then delta BM. So means what? These are the slope and deflection at B when only the moment reaction is applied at B. Okay. So when we calculate this, okay, and we know this compatibility equation. What is compatibility equation? With respect to the fixed support, we have there the reaction, there the slope and deflection should be equal to 0. But now what I'll do is I'll add all these terms, which is theta B W. Okay. Now tell me, I hope you all remember this was negative, this was positive, and this was negative. Okay. Remember those sign symbols which are calculated with respect to values. But here I'll write it as plus itself. Okay. So summation of all these slopes, theta BW plus of theta BV plus of theta BM is equals to theta B. Okay. So what is this equation representing you? The slope that is generated at B with respect to external force, the slope that is generated at B with respect to vertical force, and the slope that is generated at B with respect to moment. If you add all of those, it will give you the net theta B at the joint B. Again, going back to the principle of superposition. But as the compatibility equation says, what does the compatibility equation says? With respect to this condition, theta B should be equal to 0. Right? So this is our first equation. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll write down the second equation. What will be the second equation here? Delta BW plus of delta BV plus of delta BM is equals to delta B, and which is equals to 0. This is our second equation. This is our second equation. Okay. Now two compatibility equation we have. First compatibility equation is summation of all the slope at B should be equal to 0. Summation of all the deflection at B should be equal to 0. Then we have two equations. How many unknowns we have? We have two unknowns. What are those unknowns? PB is unknown and MPA is unknown. So by using these two equations, I could be able to solve what is VB and MAB in BA. Okay. Now let me rewrite these two equations with respect to the values that we calculated. So if you remember, what is theta BW? What is theta BW? Theta BW is equals to WL square divided by ATI. WL square divided by ATI. I hope this is minus symbol. You all remember this. Okay. I made that small correction which I had not written earlier. Okay. So theta BW is what? Minus WL square by ATI. Now how much is theta BV? Theta BV, I hope this is VB into L square divided by 2EI. Okay, sorry, this is plus. Sorry. BV is plus minus. Minus of what we have? MBA into L divided by EI. This should be equal to 0. Okay. Now this is my another equation. This is 3, and similarly I'll write the equation for this condition also. This is minus 5 by WL cube divided by 48 EI. This is the deflection at B with respect to the external force. Next is VB into L cube divided by 3 EI minus of MBA into L square divided by 2 EI is equals to 0. This is my fourth equation. Okay. Now using these two equations, I can try to resolve and find out how much is VB and MBA in terms of W. Okay. So all of you write down this. So you have written, then I'll give you the solutions. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you can ask in the chat section so that I will discuss it. Okay. Anyway, we will end the session here only. I keep this unresolved. Okay. So you use these two equations. You try to determine VB in terms of W, and you try to determine how much is MBA in terms of W. Okay. Two equations, two unknowns. What are the unknowns here? MBA and VB. These are the two unknowns you have. You try to resolve it, and once you resolve it, we'll discuss in the next class.